Hey, what's up guys, Damian here, and in this video we're gonna be talking about the ability cards in Red Dead Online. So I decided to make this video because, well, the videos that currently exist on the internet, the people in these videos, they have unlocked, they have unlocked some cards and they're just speculating on the other cards without even having unlocked them and or testing them. So I'm gonna tell you what to do, what not to do, how to use each card, and in which game modes to use the cards. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Now we have I have the cards upgraded up to level 2 because in level 1 you can't really see the difference, and level 3 is very expensive. So yeah, so now we have the Deadeye abilities, which are the active abilities, and they change the way the Deadeye works in Red Dead Online. And first card is a moment to recuperate, and while Deadeye is active you regenerate health. Taking any damage will cancel Deadeye. Now this card, guys, is actually the fastest healing ability card in the game, but there is that disadvantage that when you take damage it cancels the Deadeye, so you're gonna have to reactivate it in order to get your health back. And that's it about this card, nothing more to say. Now next card is Focus Fire. While Deadeye is active, you and your team members deal more damage. If more than one member of your team has this ability active, the effects do not stack. And well, obviously, because if they did stack, it would have been overpowered, definitely. Now this is the first team-oriented card, and increase your damage, obviously, for you and your teammates. So you wanna use it in team-based game modes like team shootout, hostile territory, those game modes. And the one neat thing about this card is that when you shoot your guns, the bullets leave a smoke trail behind, and that's how you know when a teammate has this card activated, or when you have activated it. And it's a cool effect to have. Now we have painted black, and while Deadeye is active you can paint targets onto enemies, firing your weapon to shoot all marked targets, and each shot drains a small amount of Deadeye. Now okay, this is similar to the single player usage of the Deadeye, but obviously you cannot slow down time online. And the mistake I've seen people do is that they paint a whole lot of targets on the enemies, and that takes time to paint the targets, and also like it says, when you fire the weapon it sort of drains some Deadeye. So you don't want to paint a lot of targets, and that's why I recommend you use high-powered weapons, rifles, carbines, and not pistols or revolvers, because with those weapons, if you are further away, you need to paint multiple targets, and that will totally drain your Deadeye. So that's how you use painted black, really. Oh, and you can also free aim to paint targets if they are outside your lock-on range of whatever gun you're using. So that's another advantage of this card, and you need to use it wisely. I mean, you don't want to be in Deadeye for an extended period of time. Now we have Slow and Steady, and well, Slow and Steady, everybody knows this by now. This is the most popular Deadeye ability by a long shot, because while Deadeye is active you take less damage, and headshots do not kill you outright, but you cannot run or sprint. And I mean, a card that doesn't that allows you to survive one headshot, or well, multiple headshots really, is without question, that's the reason that it is a very popular card, and especially in PvP. Well, of course in PvE as well, but the disadvantage is obviously you cannot run or sprint. And this is not a god mode card. Don't think this is an overpowered card, because you can still get one-shotted with a shotgun from close range, obviously. Well, sometimes you can survive it, depending on if what the shot pattern is. If the enemy hits all of his pellets, so you're gonna die. But it will sometimes take 2 shots or even 3 shots depending on how skilled is your opponent. But yeah, Slow and Steady currently, guys, is the best card for Deadeye. I mean, certainly you need to get this totally. You need this, I mean, absolutely. Quite an inspiration. While Deadeye is active, you and your allies regenerate health. If more than one member of your team has this ability active, the effects do not stack. And again, this is like the focus fire card, but instead of buffing your damage, you just regenerate health and your teammates as well. That's one good thing, but you don't regenerate as fast as the A Moment to Recuperate card. I mean, obviously, because that would make it totally obsolete. And the effects do not stack, of course. Again, I mean, yeah, that would have been too good. But still, I mean, this card, even though it can be useful, in reality it isn't, simply because of the bad teammates that you get the vast majority of times in team-based shootouts. I mean, because, you know, they just rush blindly to the objective, or you know, to find the enemies, and they get headshotted, I mean, just like that, and you don't really get the full advantage of this card. So yeah, Slippery Bastard. While Deadeye is active, enemy players cannot lock onto you and you cannot lock onto them. Other enemies are less accurate when shooting at you. The rate at which your Deadeye drains is increased. And this card, guys, can be very effective in the right hands, of course. You need to be very careful when you're using it, and you need to be quick while using it. Obviously, you cannot lock on to players and they cannot lock on to you. That's one, well, that's one advantage for them and disadvantage for you. Now, the thing that you need to know about this card is that if the enemy has already locked onto you and then you activate it, he will still have the lock on active on you, and he can still shoot you. But if he breaks the lock, or you know, you break visual contact with the target, you know, he won't be able to target you again. And that's how you should use the card, guys. I mean, you know, you should use it before you show up, take the enemy by surprise. And a good tactic is, you know, to use this card with a melee build or a shotgun build, so that, you know, you run to the enemy with this card active, and when you are in close enough range, you deactivate it so that you can get your lock on back. You lock onto them with a shotgun, and of course, one shot kill. That's it for the enemy. And that's how you should use this card, guys. You should, you know, be careful when you activate it, and of course, it drains a lot of Deadeye. And when you upgrade the card, it just reduces the amount of Deadeye that drains, the drain rate. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the passive ability cards. Those have 3 categories. We have the combat abilities, the recovery abilities, and the defensive ability cards. And now we're gonna start with the combat abilities, and these abilities increase your damage, but there are some requirements. You can see here on first card is Horseman. You deal more damage while on horseback, and okay, that's as long as you are on horseback, you deal more damage with all the weapons. And well, you need to be careful in this card, in free roam especially. Well, it's not a PvP card, you know, even though there are some horses in PvP maps. But if the enemy sees that you're using this card, he might as well, you know, shoot the horse if they cannot shoot you. The horse is a bigger target, obviously, and you're gonna lose the damage buff if they do so. Second card, Necessity Breeds. As you get closer to death, you start to do more damage. Now that's a serious requirement, guys, because you need to be close to death, and you don't want to be closer to death, obviously. I mean, in this game where it has lock-on capabilities, and everybody can easily lock onto you and shoot you. I mean, and if you are closer to death, you can easily get one shot killed. So the trick about this card is that you need to find some method, some way to survive after you have received the damage. So as long as you can do that, I mean, you're gonna be okay. I mean, you just need to find that way to remain alive and take full advantage of this card. Okay, now we have Landon's Patience. Waiting up to 15 seconds between shots increases your damage. Now that's another serious requirement, guys. I mean, 15 seconds can be an eternity in PvP, especially in the large mode PvP, the large showdowns. So that's why I don't recommend you use it there. Instead, use it in free roam. You know, if you go into a 1v1 in free roam, or if you absolutely want to use it in showdowns, well, just use it in the small showdowns, not the large ones, obviously, so that you can have the time, the 15 seconds to get the damage buff again. And one thing I've noticed about this card, guys, is that when you are going to upgrade it at tier 3, it says it significantly increases your damage. And you know, the other cards, they say that a lot of damage or much more damage. This is actually says significantly, so it might just be the most powerful combat ability card, guys. And and this can be, I mean, very devastating with especially with a rifle. That's how I recommend you to use it with a rifle, because you wanna get the maximum amount of damage, you know, between those shots, and express rounds, of course, obviously. So that's it. Very good card in the right hands, of course, but there is the 15 seconds requirement. Now we have the short game. You deal more damage to targets closer to you, but less damage to targets farther than you, farther away. And well, this card basically buffs your close range damage and nerfs your long range damage. So you're gonna wanna use it with short range weapons, obviously, shotguns, pistols, revolvers. Those are the close quarters weapons. And now the thing here is that they don't tell us what they consider to be close range and what they consider to be long range, but I'm guessing that short range is the maximum lock-on range of the pistols and the revolvers, and actually those two have the same lock-on range. And the long range, you know, is considered to be the repeater or the rifle range. So just to be absolutely sure, use it with shotguns and revolvers and pistols. And well, you can say now, you know, shotguns are one-shot kill, you know, and there is no reason to use it with shotguns. But actually, you know, if some of the pellets miss, or you know, if the target is running, the short game will help guarantee the one-shot kill with a shotgun even. Or if they are using, you know, a defensive ability card like, you know, slow and steady, it will make short work of these guys. Now we have the Hangman ability. Your lasso chokes your enemies, dealing damage to them for every second they are lassoed. Then this card, guys, is 100% for trolling. I mean, I just cannot think of an effective way, of a useful way, or a useful, you know, the ideal scenario of which Hangman is gonna be the card that is gonna save the day. I mean, this is totally for trolling. I mean, in free roam, you know, mess around with people, and I don't recommend you getting this card. I just got it for you know, the video purposes, and that's it. I mean, I'm not gonna use it at all, ever. Now we have winning streak. Each consecutive shot on the same target does more damage than the last. This can be a very good card. Especially I recommend you using it with the carbines, because, well, the repeaters actually, well, yeah. Because it will require one less shot to kill someone with the repeater. The rifles, they are, well, at short ranges they are 2 shots, and at long range they are 3 shots with a rifle. So in order to take advantage of this card with a rifle, you need to be at long range. And well, okay, with rifles you wanna be at long range, but you will not always be at long range. You cannot always control the engagements. And of course you can use this with the pistols, and you know, spam with the, let's say, with the semi-auto pistol or the Mauser pistol, get those quick shots, get the increasing damage with each shot. But well, again, that's also, like I said, there is also the short game for that you can use with the pistols and the revolvers. But if you want a bit, best of both worlds, just use a winning streak. Okay, now that's it for the combat abilities. Moving on to the recovery abilities. And with Comeback Stronger, your health begins to regenerate sooner after you take damage. Now this card, okay, that simply starts the regenerating process faster. It doesn't regenerate your actual health faster, at a faster rate. Just the regeneration process, guys. So that's it about this card. It can be used in preferably in PvE and less in PvP, in my opinion. But well, it works in both game modes, all game modes actually. Now we have Peak Condition, and you inflict more damage if your stamina bar is at least 75% full. Very good card all around, good damaging card. As long as you don't running and gunning, as long as you know. That should be your playstyle when having this card equipped. Even though you can control it, I mean, spinning for an extended period of time, well, obviously is gonna negate the effect of this card. But the real thing that you really need to watch out is how often you dive. And dive is a maneuver people do in order to avoid getting shot in PvP especially. And with this card you are only allowed to dive once. If you dive twice, your stamina will drop below 75%. So just be careful with that one dive when you use it, how you do it, stuff like that, so that you don't wanna lose the damage buff from Peak Condition. Now we have Eye for an Eye, headshots restore Deadeye. Now actually the more accurate description would have been headshot kills restore Deadeye, because you need to kill the enemy in order to restore the Deadeye. And if you're using it, say for example both you and the enemy have slow and steady activated, and you start shooting each other in the head, you will not regenerate Deadeye even though you hit a headshot, because obviously it's not a headshot kill. And you are not, in general, if you are in Deadeye and you're using this, and even if you get the kill while you're Deadeye, you will not restore. So the only way to restore it is by just do the normal headshot kills. Okay, that's the thing about this card. Now we have the Gift of Focus. Items and abilities which restore Deadeye have their effects improved. You deal a little less damage though. Now this card can perfectly be used with Eye for an Eye to increase Eye for an Eye's Deadeye restoration. You actually get more if you use these two cards together. And with the Gift of Focus, when you use the Deadeye tonics, snake oil, stuff like that, it increases the time in which you can remain in Deadeye, but not a whole lot, because I tested it and it's only for like 3 seconds, and that's it. I mean, it can be useful, this card, if you combine it with Eye for an Eye, like I said. But also there is this the damage nerf, and you deal a little less damage, and that's completely unnecessary, guys, and I think they should remove that, because it makes this card less appealing to the players. Okay, now we have Strange Medicine. You regain health whenever you inflict damage. Your health otherwise regenerates at half the normal rate. This is a great PvP card, of course, I mean, because in PvP you wanna regenerate health instantly when you are in gunfights. So let's say for example you are fighting someone with both of you have slow and steady, and the guy with Strange Medicine is gonna win that firefight, as long as of course you're using the same type of weapon. It will give you an advantage there, and your health otherwise regenerates at half the normal rate. Okay, that's fair. I mean, if it didn't have that requirement or that debuff, should I say, it would have been a very good card. I mean, the only card that would have been useful to regenerate health. But one other thing about this card is that because you cannot regenerate at the normal rate, it really forces you into seek out targets and, you know, have frequent firefights, and that might as well get you killed then eventually. If you run onto 2 or 3 guys, you know, they will shoot you all together and you're dead. But still, I mean, this is especially for 1-1 PvP, it's a very good card, and you can do some crowd control, you know, if you're, like I said, if you're using slow and steady, stuff like that. This card can increase your survivability, but you need to watch out how you play when using this card. Now we have Cold-Blooded. After killing an enemy, you will regain health over the next 5 seconds. Okay, now with this card, you absolutely need to kill the enemy. Hitting him will not heal you. And you get the health over the next 5 seconds. You do not get it instantly. That's the thing about this card. And sometimes, you know, you might need instantly to get your health back. That's why in that case the Strange Medicine would be the better card, but Cold-Blooded doesn't have a disadvantage like Strange Medicine does. Your health will still regenerate at the normal rate. And with this card you want to use weapons that are good to kill at killing quickly the enemy. You don't want to have lengthy firefights when using Cold-Blooded. So that's it about the recovery abilities. Moving on to the defensive abilities. First card is Hunker Down. You take less damage while in cover, and well, you need to be in cover in order for this card to be activated, obviously, in order to get the defensive buff. And this is actually a very good card at playing the objective in hostile territory game mode, guys. So basically you go into the objective and you have to defend the objective. You stay in there with a close quarter weapon, a shotgun or dual pistols, and everybody who gets in, you can just shoot him, I mean, with one shot, and you have the additional defensive buff. But you can still get one shot headshot. The enemy can still kill you with a headshot, obviously. But still, I mean, you have the advantage because you are waiting for the enemy. And now the thing is with Hunker Down that being behind cover doesn't mean that you are in cover, because you really need to press the cover button in order to be in cover, obviously. And in PS4 is the R1 button for PS4, and that's how the game considers it that you are in cover. So that's one thing to remember. That's how you do it. To fight another day, you take less damage from bullets while sprinting. Now, this card is only from bullets. That's the thing you need to remember. So, arrows and throwable weapons such as you know, tomahawks, throwing knives, dynamites, Molotov cocktails, those are still gonna do their normal damage at you. And this card, guys, is actually very good when you are on your horse. It actually applies when your horse is sprinting, which makes it very good for horse races and for free roam, if you will. You can use this and to increase your defensive, you know, your durability while on your horse as well, and while you are doing a normal sprint. But of course, when you have to shoot at the enemy, you are gonna have to slow down, so you don't get the buff, obviously. That's the thing to consider about to fight another day. Very good card for horse races, like I said, and less for you know, on foot PvP. There are better cards for that. Okay, now we have the Unblinking Eye. Your Deadeye and Eagle Eye drain slower. Okay, self-explanatory card. With any Deadeye ability card, the drain rate is gonna be reduced. That's very good, and especially with Slippery Bastard, you wanna use the Unblinking Eye with Slippery Bastard. I mean, definitely, because Slippery Bastard already increases Deadeye at an increased rate. So absolutely, you need this. And Eagle Eye, well, you know, the Eagle Eye, you use it when hunting in order to track down animals. You can track them for longer, or you know, spot the herbs, the plants, stuff like that. Take the pain away. Whenever you revive someone, you both take less damage for the next 8 seconds. Now this card, guys, is not very useful because, you know, your team members, if they get, you know, if you get shot in the head, you instantly die. So this card requires you to get shot to the body multiple times, and still you don't always drop down and you know, to be revived. And well, if this does happen, you know, you need to first go over there to where your teammate is in order to, you know, to revive them. Go through the revive animation and pray you don't get shot by whoever just killed him. And then you take the buff, the defensive buff, for the next 8 seconds. And 8 seconds, guys, this is a very short duration. I think this card needs to be buffed, for either the duration needs to be buffed, or simply the defensive buff, you know, needs to be higher. But the way it stands right now, guys, this is the most, the least useful, should I say, defensive ability, and it's not worth sacrificing an ability card slot for this. Just like the Hankman combat ability card, those two are next to useless currently, and I don't recommend either of those. Now we have of single purpose. You take less damage from bullets while unarmed or using a melee weapon. Now this card also works while you are on the horse, as long as you're using a melee weapon or unarmed. And it's from bullets only, so throwables and arrows will still do the normal damage at you. Now this card, when it says you know, unarmed or with a melee weapon, now some of the throwable weapons can be used for as melee weapons, for example the tomahawk. But if you have the tomahawk equipped, this card will not apply, guys. That's the thing to remember. With the tomahawk it doesn't apply because it's primarily considered as a throwable weapon. Only with you know, the hunting knife, the machete and the cleaver, this card will apply. Only for dedicated melee weapons that cannot be thrown. Okay, so now that's the thing you need to remember about of single purpose. And like I said, it can be used on horses as well. But if you equip your weapon, a firearm, obviously, you know, it will negate the effect. And finally, we have never without one, a very popular defensive ability, arguably the best one for all for all game modes. I mean, because your hat will block one headshot and then fall off. While wearing a hat, you take a little less damage. While not wearing a hat, you take more damage. Very good card indeed, but you know, if you lose your hat, you can pick it up in free roam only. In PvP, actually, if you die, you will respawn without your hat, and that's an issue. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's a glitch, but currently the only way to fix this is by having a persistent posse, or being a member of a persistent posse and having the posse outfits equipped, so that way you get your hat every time you respawn. That's the only way, guys. And you also get the damage buff, or the defensive buff, should I say, while wearing a hat, because now you can see at level 1 you do not get a body shot defensive buff. At level 2 you actually get it. Yeah, it says while wearing a hat you take a little less damage, and obviously at tier 3 while wearing a hat you take less damage. So that's another a good reason to upgrade this card, and I will upgrade it to the max later. And this can potentially be the most expensive card, because for the persistent posse you need $200 in order to create it. So this can cost upward to $1,100 when compared to the $900 if you want to max out any of the other ability cards. So that's another thing, guys. In order to make this card fully functional, you really need to upgrade it all the way to tier 3 in order to get the maximum benefit from it. And always remember to use the posse outfits when playing PvP. You don't want to run around PvP without your hat, and certainly you don't want to respawn without your hat. So that's it, guys, about the ability cards. I think we covered everything. I told you everything I know. If you want to add something that I potentially missed, feel free to do so in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, of course, give it a thumbs up. And so that's it, guys. Let me know what kind of setup you are using, what's your philosophy behind it, or in which game modes you are using it, what guns, what strategies, stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys, and take care. Bye.